Hi everybody, Brian McNichols here from touringplans.com. And if you are watching this right now on either YouTube or on Facebook later on, welcome. This is a weekly question and answer period that we do. Angela Dahlgren and I alternate Thursdays, but every Thursday at noon, most of the time, somebody is here to answer any questions you have about any theme parks. If you want to ask me anything about Washington, D.C., which we do have on the Touring Plans site now, we cover Walt Disney World, of course, Disneyland, Universal Studios Orlando, Disney Cruise Line, and Washington, D.C. This was filmed live, and I see some people coming in right now. So any live viewers, go ahead and ask any questions you have about pretty much anything. I'll answer whatever. Doesn't really have to be theme park related. I don't mind. I have a few questions that people asked on a Facebook post that I posted yesterday. If you're not watching live, make sure you check this out. Every Thursday at noon, we are here answering questions. So, first question I got on the post yesterday, while I'm waiting for some new questions to roll in, I'm just going to start answering some of these ones from yesterday. And the first question I got was from Kristen. She says she'll be at Universal on opening day of Jimmy Fallon's Race to New York, and have heard that he'll also be taping his show in Orlando that week. She's curious what it will do to their wait times and what to expect on the day of a new ride opening. This one is this one's tougher to predict because I don't know how much actual hype there is for this. I mean, there's always, any new attraction is going to get a little bit of a crowd, especially with some of the local regulars, annual pass holders, things like that, that are always around. Sorry, I just realized I forgot to flip the screen, so everything's backwards. Sorry about that. But this one, I don't know that Jimmy Fallon's Race to New York is going to draw in the vacationers, the ones who maybe were going to make a trip this summer and decided, oh, I'll go earlier so I can be there when Jimmy Fallon's Race to New York opens. I don't know that it's going to do that. So I don't expect this to be huge in wait times. Even a ride like Reign of Kong, which was a much bigger, much more hyped ride, didn't really increase the wait times a lot for, a little bit, but over the summer they're increased anyway, so it's kind of hard to figure out whether some of these specific rides do really increase the wait times over the park. Now, Jimmy Fallon taping there, that may be something that increases it a little bit more, but again, I think it'll mostly be locals. And people who are there anyway. I'm not sure too many people are traveling to get there. If you were going to travel for a taping of Jimmy Fallon, I feel like you would just go to where he films, which is, I think, New York, I assume, because they're doing the whole Race from New York thing. But, sorry, I'm terrible at looking at the computer and doing stuff and remembering to talk. I guess this is why I do mostly the YouTube videos where I don't or I can, edit it. But, so the wait times might increase a little bit. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. All right, the next one that I got, and anybody that's watching right now, the dozen or so of you that are paying attention, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and shoot them to me. Just anything in general you want to talk about. It doesn't really have to be questions, doesn't have to be about any of the theme parks. Matthew and Rebecca here asked about doing a Disneyland live chat. We don't do them regularly because we don't really necessarily specify that this is a Walt Disney World only chat. It just happens to be that Walt Disney World is the one that most people are interested in, so it's the one we get the most questions about. But I could answer most Disneyland questions. I'm not quite the expert that Guy Selga, our Disneyland mainstay, is, and Guy will occasionally do live chats. And the bonus with his is that since he lives at Mickey's house in Toontown, he can do them from the park. So I will reach out to Guy and see if he is willing to do another chat soon. But we do them every once in a while. But if you have any Disneyland questions, you can go ahead and hit them. Hit me with them, because I can answer most of them, I would imagine. Some specific ones, I've only actually been there a few times, but I've read a lot about it. Isn't that the worst thing? Of course I've read a lot about it. Everybody's read a lot about it. Everybody that would be watching a live theme park chat at noon on a Thursday anyway has probably read about Disneyland. Lacey asked about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Speaking of Not So Scary Halloween Party, a question I get all the time is when the dates are going to be announced for Not So Scary. And we don't know. They were out by this time last year. It was around March 22nd, 23rd, sometime in that range, that they announced all the official dates for Mickey's Not So Scary and Very Merry Christmas Party. And they're... Elizabeth has not read anything about Disneyland. There's one. And they just haven't released them yet, which is really weird. Usually Disney gets earlier and earlier and earlier with stuff like that. And we haven't heard anything. So any day now, presumably, all those dates will be out for all the parties. But what she was asking specifically here was about her kids being and wearing Halloween shirts versus full costumes, whether it mattered. The answer is no, it doesn't matter. A lot of people will be in, I don't even know if I want to say a lot. A good chunk of people will be in costumes, but I'm not even sure it's a majority. At least the times that I've seen, and they've all been earlier parties in the year, like September parties, I haven't noticed a lot of people in costume. A lot of people wearing, like you said, shirts and things like that, but you definitely won't stick out if you're not in costume. She also asked about whether there was any reason to do Halloween versus one of the parties earlier that weekend. No, in fact, avoiding Halloween would be better. The Halloween party gets a lot of people, and a lot of people interested in seeing the parade and the fireworks. So like the parades get really crowded to try to see. Doing one a few days before would probably save you a lot of heartache on trying to get a spot for the parade. So... let's see here. Kyle says that he heard Shrek 4D is being replaced by a Secret Life of Pets attraction. We have also heard that. We haven't heard anything official. Jim Hill, our resident historian, I suppose, a friend of Touring Plans, he's said that he's heard they are pretty far down the path of doing it, but that it hasn't. I don't think it's been 100% okayed yet. So... I don't know exactly. Universal, I'm not 100% sure how their system. Disney, the easiest answer is always to say that it'll get cut down in the budget process. Universal tends to be a lot more outgoing with stuff like this. Secret Life of Pets did well. I'm sure, I don't know for sure, but I would be willing to bet a lot on that there will be a sequel to it. So... I would not be surprised at all, but I haven't heard anything that I would say is definitive. Jennifer asked if she could do Disneyland in 2 days, one for each park. Sort of. You could get a pretty good distance into it in 2 days. I don't think you would leave feeling like you saw everything. Disneyland has a crazy amount of attractions. The first time I went, I think we spent 5 or 6 days at Disneyland, and I still don't think we saw everything in Disneyland, its park itself, because we chose to re-ride stuff for the most part. Like Pirates of the Caribbean, I will re-ride 6 times if I can while I'm there. But you could do all the major stuff easily in 1 day each. California Adventure, you could probably get through just about all of it in 1 day with, doing an open to close and using a touring plan, of course. So that shouldn't be bad. Disneyland, you're not going to get to everything, but as long as you can prioritize what you definitely want to do, it should be doable. If for some reason you're out there for business or doing other stuff and you only have 2 days, don't skip the trip just because of it. You can see all the highlights for sure in 2 days. Scott asked about my thoughts about the gondola plans. Will the throughput be adequate? That is the tricky question. The gondola plans, excuse me, for those who don't know, which is probably a fair number of you, it hasn't been widely publicized and isn't official by any means yet. Some plans leaked onto the internet a few weeks ago, month ago maybe. I know I talked about it on another Facebook Live, and I skipped my last one. We got a ton of snow. I live in Pennsylvania, and we were supposed to get like 10 inches of snow, which is a pretty good amount. We ended up getting over 2 feet of snow, and my kids were off of school the entire week basically. So since I shoot this at my house, having my kids running behind me, although maybe they would have been able to answer as many of these as I have, but so I ended up skipping my last one. Anyway, the gondola plans are, it's a blueprint that shows what looks to be a gondola system. There's another one Jim Hill says is pretty far down the road of happening that would link Hollywood Studios with Epcot and Caribbean Beach and Boardwalk. I don't remember. Caribbean Beach was the one in there I remember, but it's I think it was Boardwalk, and it's like gondola, like a cable car, like a cross between a Skyway and a cable car. Basically, it would look more like cable cars. It would move like a Skyway. What Scott was asking is about the throughput, the amount of people that could actually get on it. You know, a monorail pulls up, a ferry pulls up, hundreds of people get on those at once and leave. The gondola system, I mean, you're talking, even if they are cable car sized, you're still talking 15 or 20 people per. They would have to have quite a few on there to do it. And the demand would be high, especially in the beginning, because it would just be, I mean, it'd basically be a ride itself. They had the Skyway at the Magic Kingdom, which was a ride. So, I don't know I have a feeling it would be self-regulating. I have a feeling it would be self-regulating in that the line would get so long that people would just stop getting in line and they just say, you know what, I'm just going to take the bus to Caribbean Beach because I'm not waiting an hour to get on this gondola. Because I don't see how the throughput could be anywhere close to decent. I mean, even if you're talking, 20 people on one of these, and I mean that would be, about the size of this like 10 by 10 room I'm in. That's a pretty big car. Even if one of those was coming, I mean, it would take a minute or two to load, and if you're only talking, if you're talking being down to 8 or 10 people a minute, that doesn't sound great. But it would be a constant movement, so that would be good. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see first if it ever even comes to pass, because, like I said, I mean, they are very, very strongly considering. I mean, they filed plans and everything for it, so it's there, it's ready. But we kind of think it's not going to come in until Caribbean Beach gets their DVC, which the current construction that's going on at Caribbean Beach, or the very soon to be May 1st, the very soon to be construction going on there, is not strictly for the DVC, the Disney Vacation Club, which is like the timeshare club for Disney World, that up until now is only at deluxe resorts. That, everything we hear is that it's going to come into Caribbean Beach, but apparently this construction is not that. So we're talking years probably on any sort of gondola. But I really hope it happens. It sounds awesome. Marnie asked about the select resorts that will be available for Pandora. I haven't heard, as far as I know, this is Pandora, the World of Avatar, that is opening at Animal Kingdom May 27th, Memorial Day weekend. As far as I know, it's just regular extra magic hours, so it would be any resort guests. I haven't heard that they're going to define it any more than that. If anybody else has heard any of that, let me know, because that would be a very interesting development. Kathy asks, they're going in mid-August. There's only one day with extra magic hours in the evening. Every other day has 1 hour in the mornings. Any chance that would change much before then? Mid-August, extra magic hours. Again, and I'm trying to do a better job of explaining what some of these terms and acronyms are, because ideally there would be people watching that aren't super Disney nerds like I am. So extra magic hours are extra hours. It would be 1 in the morning before the park opens or 2 in the evening after the park closes that are only for Disney resort guests, people staying in the Disney hotels on property at Walt Disney World. So they're abbreviated as EMH all the time. So the EMHs don't change a ton, unfortunately. They will occasionally, if there are days on that calendar where there are blanks, where there's just not an extra magic hour, then there's a pretty good chance they're going to add some. There's very, very rarely a day that just has no extra magic hour. There's usually one at one of the parks, either in the morning or in the evening. So if there are blank days in there, they're probably going to add them in. If there are full ones, and you say every other day has 1 hour in the morning, so it makes it sound like... So no, I'm going to guess. The only caveat in there is the Pandora stuff at Animal Kingdom. For the opening of Pandora, May 27th, they are having 2 hours of extra magic hours on the end of every single day from May 27th through July 4th. And this was a question I got earlier, too, from Carrie, asking if that was going to be extended. I think it probably will. I don't think it's going to be every day after July 4th, but I think they're going to probably put Animal Kingdom in the regular rotation. And I don't know this at all, so this is speculation. But I think they're going to probably put Animal Kingdom in the regular rotation so that it will have evening extra magic hours, once a week or so. So that may get added in there, because right now after July 4th, there's nothing. And I think that could change. Ryan asked if Pardon the Pixie Dust is ever coming back. That is a podcast I did with friend and colleague Derek Bergen. I'm not going to say no. I don't think there's ever going to be regular shows again. Unfortunately, we're both busy with other projects, and it's hard to find time for both of us all the time. But we would like to do the occasional special show. So you will definitely hear our voices arguing with each other again. Elizabeth says, why are they just letting Stitch's Great Escape sit there unused? It was always one of her favorites. Wow, that is a sentiment you don't hear very often. I'm glad, though, because I like to hear that... What's up, Tom? I like to hear that people like, attractions that are, kind of against the grain, because I am certainly that way. I definitely dislike attractions that other people love, and I am very fond of some that are not super popular. So that's good. I'm glad you like it. Unfortunately, though, I think it's probably going to eventually go away forever. The rumor is that there is going to be a Wreck-It Ralph ride, which, I mean, at this point, what is Tomorrowland anymore? But the Stitch's Great Escape right now, I think they're just not ready. The problem with Disney, this is a kind of a corporate problem, is that they don't like to string out their budgets very long. They like to be very focused on what they are doing with new stuff in the parks. For instance, they are opening Pandora this year. They have a Toy Story Land coming in Hollywood Studios. I don't know when. I kind of thought it might be next year, but it's really weird. We haven't heard anything about it. And then 2019 is supposed to be Star Wars Land. We've heard rumors that they're going to go to Epcot next and redo some Future World stuff after Star Wars Land. They like to kind of do that and space stuff out. So to do a new attraction right now, I think they're just kind of waiting on. I wouldn't be surprised if they redo Stitch for maybe next year, with something like a new nighttime parade in Magic Kingdom, hopefully, because we haven't heard anything about that either since they took away Main Street Electrical Parade. But I think that's just the reason. Now, why they don't have it open at all, that is a really good question, because it seems like they're opening it for busy periods, and we don't know if this summer is going to be one of their busy periods. I kind of hope so, because it seems, like you said, a waste. I don't love Stitch's Great Escape, but it does seem like a waste. I can just, if I don't love it, I can just not go on it. That's fine. It being there doesn't hurt my sensibilities any. So, I don't know. I don't know why they're just letting it sit there. We all kind of thought that once they started doing this seasonal stuff that it was just gone, and it hasn't been yet. So hopefully next time you go, it is open again. So if it's the last time, you at least get to ride it one more time. Meredith asked if I think Pandora will live up to the hype. Yes, she is the one who asked that earlier also. Yeah, I think it will. I think that... hold on. Sorry, Marnie responded with the Pandora. At select Walt Disney. It does say for Pandora that it will be select Walt Disney World Resort hotels, but I can't imagine that it's actually going to be for specific ones. I think it's probably all of them. My guess is the reason they say that is because it might not include. I can't remember if Swan or Dolphin does extra magic hours. But things like the hotels that are near Disney Springs and things like that. Okay, Swan and Dolphin do get extra magic hours. Shades of Green might too. But there are those resorts that are right next to, excuse me, right next to Disney Springs that do not. So my guess is the reason they put that in there is to kind of cover themselves, so that so that people don't think, oh, I'm staying on Disney property, I get to do this. You know, it has to be a Disney hotel. So sorry about that, Meredith. About Pandora and whether it will live up to the hype. I think it will, only because I think the hype is fairly measured. And now, most of the people I deal with are also Disney nerds, so it's hard to judge the actual public reaction. But I think a lot of people are fairly apprehensive about Avatar, the movie, and despite all the money it made, and it made all the money, that it's not going to be that great. I disagree. I think the land is actually going to be really, really cool. I think they did put a lot of time and money into making it look very beautiful and kind of otherworldly. The light up stuff at night should be pretty fantastic. The Soarin'-like attraction, Flight of Passage, that I don't know about, but I'm just kind of worried about being motion sick on it, so it's hard to tell. The Navi River journey, though, looks pretty awesome. Everything looks very beautiful. That's all the bioluminescence-like stuff. It's the light-up plants, and I think it will. I think it's going to be really, really cool. Even if you're not necessarily into Avatar, which, I've heard a lot of people say that they're just going to skip it because they don't think it should be there. And, and I understand the sentiment, but I think it's still going to look really cool. You also asked yesterday, Meredith, while I'm on your question, about recommended FastPass strategy for the park because you're going with a toddler in August. And, I remember going with a toddler. I'm luckily up to small child now. Children, I have two. But I was there with toddlers of all sorts of different ages. I would recommend it. Some of it depends on your toddler and whether they get up early. One of mine used to be up by 7 in the morning no matter what. The other one used to sleep later. I don't necessarily recommend waking them up if you don't have to, but if you can get to the park early, obviously that is still huge. With the fast passes, I would say, and honestly this is what I do even now, even when we do get to the parks for opening most of the time, I would aim for no earlier than 10 a.m. Somewhere between like 11 and 2 on the fast passes is a really good sweet spot. That's when it gets real busy. It's hot. You don't really want to be standing in lines. And, with the toddler, I would maybe go a little earlier, maybe like, sneak two of them in like, at 10 and 11 kind of thing. Then after lunch, go back to the hotel, go back to wherever, relax, swim, let them take a nap if you can still get them to nap. My kids napped at Disney World for a year and a half after they stopped napping at home because it was so tiring. So, take it real easy and slow. I wouldn't focus so much on maximizing your fast passes, getting that fourth fast pass after you use your first three, anything like that. If you try to push it too much, it's just going to end in a meltdown. But you know that, I'm sure. So I would say take it real easy. Oh, and no problem about repeating the question. I plan on getting to all of them anyway, so I was gonna get there. Lupita asked if Paint the Night is coming back to Disneyland. We don't know. We know that Main Street Electrical Parade out there is temporary. We don't know what's happening after that. I would kind of hope it's coming back because it's a really, really cool show. And it wasn't there all that long. So I think it will, but I haven't heard anything official yet. The nighttime parades are being really weird right now in that, Main Street Electrical Parade left Magic Kingdom with no replacement. Now it's leaving Disneyland and there's no announced replacement. I hope, and I think everybody kind of assumes Paint the Night will be back, but they haven't said yet, which, I hope they come back. Ryan asked if the monorail is still down more than it's up these days. It definitely has its days. I tend to get, knock on wood. Good, that didn't. I thought my dogs were going to start barking when I knocked on my desk. I have had really good luck. I've been there, a lot and haven't really had that many problems with the monorails going down. I know some people that's not the case, but to me, they seem to be a little better. I don't know if actually they are or not, but they have been doing a lot of repairs on them. Tom asked LeFou's Brew or Butterbeer. I have only ever sipped Butterbeer once, and I've never tried LeFou's Brew. I don't like sweet drinks particularly. I would prefer actual beer to Butterbeer. So I'm going to vote Hogshead Ale on that one. Versus Butterbeer, and LeFou's Brew is in the Magic Kingdom, so unless I am dining at Skipper Canteen or Be Our Guest, there is no other option for any sort of alcoholic drink, which is frankly the type I prefer, especially when I'm on vacation. Kathy asked if the Star Wars Galactic Spectacular started yet. Yeah, it's been going for quite a while. It is, I believe it is every night. I believe it is every night. The schedule definitely gets a little weird with the Galactic Spectacular, especially. Disney doesn't. Sorry, I'm looking at the far end of the screen, but trying not to turn and talk directly into the microphone because it would get quite a bit louder there. Yeah, it is running every night, at least for the foreseeable future. The problem with, and this is just a general showtime problem with Disney, they don't like to announce their showtimes very far in advance. Usually they don't change, but like the things like the performers at Epcot, Sergio and Sir Veromosan, the balancer juggler people in France, their showtimes are almost always the same times on the same days forever. But Tom says all the table service in Magic Kingdom serve now. I didn't realize that. Are you sure? I didn't. I missed that for some reason. But anyway, so they don't announce them very far in advance, and I assume the reason is because it involves actual people working, and they just kind of want. Sean says Liberty Tree has it too. Finally, Liberty Tree's been called a tavern for 40 years, and they never served alcohol. That was weird. And I know a lot of people don't like alcohol in the Magic Kingdom, so I'm going to try to not start that argument right now. It's a trial. Okay. But the showtimes, they just don't, and for some reason the Galactic Spectacular, even though it doesn't involve performers, really, they don't put out very far in advance. So we get a lot of questions from people asking, is it coming back? They're not showing anything for the summer, but you just kind of have to wait until about a month or 6 weeks before, and then all of a sudden they pop up all over the place. So they have been nightly, and they should be nightly for the foreseeable future. All right, Tom asks, what's up with Mission Space? I don't know. It is going to be under refurb from June 5th, I believe, through July 31st. So 2 months, right in the middle of the summer, some of the busiest months at Walt Disney World. Mission Space, one of the, I don't know if I want to call it one of the major attractions in Epcot, but certainly in the second tier of attractions in Epcot, will be closed. It seems odd, very odd to me. And and they sorry, I'm laughing at the comments at the moment, which are very good, but they haven't said why they're refurbing Mission Space right now. Because they're doing it over the summer months instead of in the fall or in like January or February, it makes me think that this is something that kind of needed to be done. So something, it's not going to be anything seriously mechanical, or else they would have shut it down right away. But something that they're just like, okay, we need to take care of this a little sooner. There's been rumors for quite a while now that they were going to add other experiences into it. I don't know if it was going to be randomized like Star Tours is, or if you could just pick, instead of going to Mars, that you would go to Jupiter or Saturn or Uranus. But they haven't said whether they were doing that or not. So the only thing I can assume right now is that they're refurbing it for just general maintenance, unless they say otherwise. I really haven't heard anything about that. In fact, I just found out it was going down for refurb 2 or 3 days ago. So Stephanie is finalizing the touring plans now. Awesome. The increase in attendance, you recommend adding extra time between attractions to make sure you don't miss things. It depends. I always have a problem, especially when my kids were a little bit smaller. Now they're 8 and 5 right now, so they walk a little bit quicker, a little bit. I tend to walk very quickly, as does my wife. So when the kids were very little, we were practically dragging them. They were walking so slow. The touring plan software, if you're optimizing it, there are sliders at the top where you can either minimize waiting or minimize walking. So it will, if you choose minimize waiting, you may have to cross the parks to get to attractions that have the lowest wait times. So you may be walking more. If you minimize walking, it will purposely pick attractions that are near each other, even though you may have to wait in slightly longer lines. It's still going to get you the best possible in that scenario. But so what I always did with my kids was I would go to minimize walking, and then there's another one for walking time. And I'd always put it on the slowest walking one, because then it allows you a little bit more time in between attractions. So I'd suggest doing that. The reason I started talking about how slowly my kids walked is because the walk very slowly one wasn't slow enough. We'd be 3 attractions in. The wait times would be dead on accurate, and we'd still end up being 10 minutes behind the plan, minimum, because we were just walking so much slower than the software thought we were. The nice thing, if you use our Lines app, actually I just saw, I just caught that it looks like Stitch is going to be active again pretty soon. Let's see. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. from April 10th to the 19th. Stitch is going to be active again for Elizabeth, who asked that before. So it looks like they're bringing it back at least for Easter time. So that would be, that maybe they would for the summer too. So anyway, the nice thing, if you use our WDW Lines app, or we also have an app for Universal or Disneyland, if you use that and you have the plan, you can re-optimize your plan. So say you get off of Peter Pan's flight, and you look at the time and you were supposed to be at the next attraction 10 minutes ago. You can always just hit the optimize button. It'll re-optimize the plan based on current wait times. Now you only want to use the app when you're in the park. You only want to optimize on the app when you're in the park, because it will optimize for that day current wait times. It won't optimize for the future or anything like that. So if you're optimizing your plans before you go, use the website. When you're there, though, use the app, because then it doesn't matter if you get a little behind. But I still don't think even with extra attendance, I don't think it's really going to matter. Have a great trip, Stephanie. Tom asked if we could assume that any major additions or changes will be completed before the big anniversary. That is the 50th anniversary, which will be in 2021, right? Yeah, October 1st, 2021. I think that's right. Math, yeah, that's it. So, yeah, I think major stuff, they're probably looking at that. Definitely for Magic Kingdom. I mean, we've heard the latest rumor that we heard was that they were going to bring the Tron coaster over from Shanghai and put it where the Tomorrowland Speedway. My mind went totally blank right there. That would be the big thing for the Magic Kingdom for their 50th. So it's entirely possible. But I don't know. I think they see every summer now as a new thing that they need to get people to. He also asked about Beauty and the Beast Live getting axed. That's another one. I mean, they wanted to replace that with a Tangled musical, and I mean, Tangled came out. You know, how long ago was that? I can tell you in a second. 2010. So that was 7 years ago. They wanted to do that. So they've wanted to get rid of that forever, and it's still there. So who knows? At this point, I don't know. I don't know if they're ever getting rid of that thing. Sorry, my throat is getting very clogged up for some reason. Thomas asked, Navi translator at Pandora. What do I know? Not much. I know it is called the Navi translator, and I have not really heard anything else about it since then. So I don't know if it's going to be... I think, is that the animatronic that they showed, the kind of creepy head one? I don't know, maybe you say things and it... I really don't. I really don't know that much about it. That sounds kind of creepy. And Sean asked, I'm going to get off of that topic as soon as I can. I don't know what else I can even say about it. Sean asked if I heard anything about Splash Mountain refurb starting August 29th. I have not heard that. I wouldn't be super surprised because they do tend to take Splash Mountain down. It used to go down for a yearly January refurb, and I don't think it's been doing that lately because any attraction where you have high-tech robotics and water in close proximity to each other, they don't like it all the time. So that's why a lot of stuff just tends to break on Splash Mountain that, people feel like it shouldn't, but it just does. It happens. And sometimes it's major stuff. They have to go in there. They have to replace one of the animatronics. They have to do a complete rehaul of it. So it used to go down pretty, once a year basically for just regular stuff. It's not listed on the official Disney refurbishments list. And August 20, well, I guess that's right after the summer. So that's the time, like, what I was saying with Mission Space. That's the time where I would think that they would do, maintenance stuff is in the fall like that when it's just not as busy. But let me look and see. Selfishly, that's a couple days after I get back from my next trip there. So kind of happy it's after that. But Splash Mountain. All right, let me see. Another one, I want to try to get to all the people that asked me yesterday on here. Jennifer says, and this sounds like a whole lot of fun, she's doing an adults-only food and wine trip in October. And she asked, where would I stay? I've never done an adults-only trip, actually, in Disney World. I've been there a few times for work, which is not exactly always fun. But... yeah, see, they're not... sorry, I'm back to the Splash Mountain thing now for Sean. I'm looking around at, like, the hours, and they're not showing any hours for, like, any of August. So It might just be that they haven't updated it yet. But no, there's nothing that I'm seeing, at least official channels, that it's going down for refurb. But again, I wouldn't be surprised. We'll keep an eye on that. So, an adults only trip, if you're focusing on Food and Wine in Epcot, absolutely one of the Epcot area hotels, without question. Which one will probably depend on what price you can get. They're all very nice. Swan and Dolphin, you might end up being able to get a little bit cheaper. They are Starwood hotels. So if you are, if you're a frequent traveler and have, Starwood points built up, you may be able to get an even better deal there. Sometimes, they're not Disney run hotels. So, you can probably, that's why you can sometimes get a better deal. Barring that, the boardwalk is usually a little bit cheaper. Yep, Tom just mentioned the boardwalk there too. Boardwalk is usually a little bit cheaper than beach and yacht. The boardwalk itself has a few nice bars, some really great restaurants. The new Abracadabra bar I finally saw for the first time a couple months ago, and it's a very cool, like, magic themed bar that's at Boardwalk there. And I mean, even if you're staying Swan and Dolphin, it's a real easy walk. But anywhere in that area, you want to be able to walk right into the International Gateway, into the World Showcase at Epcot. It will change your life. It's fantastic being able to walk in there. Even staying there with my family, we found ourselves at Epcot more times than we ever had in one trip because we were at the beach club, and it was just so easy to walk in there. And my kids actually loved the Agent P World Showcase adventure, which was nice because I love the World Showcase and I love hanging out in it. Tom says he loved the Christmas party. Here's the Halloween party is even better. I agree. I think the Halloween party is better. I love Christmas. I am a huge Christmas guy. But I still like the Halloween party better. The parade is better. The fireworks are better. You get candy. I've almost said free candy, but of course you're paying $100 a ticket to get in, so free is a strange term. The decorations are cooler. Seeing the people in costumes really liven up. But just, I mean, it is the best parade and probably the best fireworks that Walt Disney World does. I agree, Meredith. Touring Plans should send me on an adult trip. Although I did go on a bar research trip one time. It's a little bit outdated at the moment, but we have an ebook on touringplans.com/ebooks that is all the bars in Walt Disney World, and I did get to go research that and write about all of it and take pictures. So I think they'd probably argue that was my one. So Jen says she's not staying too near the Disney area, but will be visiting the parks. Is the boardwalk worth a visit? Tom said it definitely is. I think so. It's real easy to visit because, like I said, there's a few really great restaurants. There's Flying Fish is very good. Trattoria Al Forno. Actually, I'm jaded on Italian. I live in a very heavily Italian-American area, so we have some great Italian places here. So I don't always go to the Italian places when I'm in, Florida. Even though I'm sure some of them are very good. But I went to Trattoria Al Forno for breakfast, and the breakfast was really good. And now they actually have a character meal a couple days with Rapunzel and other princess, Ariel, I think. And their princes are there that I'm going to be trying over the summer. But the breakfast, at least, is very good. There's a few really, like I said, Abracadabra are very cool. So it's really easy to think of a reason to make a trip there. Just go there to eat, walk around. You can do a loop around Crescent Lake. You can see Beach Club, Yacht Club, and the boardwalk. It is a very, very nice area. And if you're there for 11 days, you'll definitely be wanting to take some breaks from the park. I agree, Meredith. I enjoy my job very much. We have a couple of ebooks. For a little while, we were doing a few of those. We have one on bars, one on value resorts, and one on the Harry Potter attractions at Universal that I wrote, and I am also a huge Harry Potter geek. So the Drink Around the World Challenge would be fun on an adults only trip. I'm getting to the age where I don't know if the Drink Around the World Challenge sounds fun on any level. That is, I kind of lost my explaining things to people who may not know thread there a while ago. But the Drink Around the World thing is kind of this unofficial thing where you get one alcoholic drink from each of the 11 World Showcase countries. I don't think I've ever done it. I think I've done it in a trip where in a week I've gotten one from each, but that's not really what it is. I don't think I can do that anymore, nor would I think anybody else enjoy seeing me after 11 beers in World Showcase. Not that you don't see stuff like that anyway. Well, thank you, Jen. That's very nice of you. All right. Well, I think my voice is starting to get super raspy now. I'm definitely going to have to take a Ricola before the next time I do one of these. Thank you very much for watching. Anyone watching later on Facebook or on YouTube, check us out every Thursday at noon Eastern. We do a live chat on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/touringplans. Anybody who's watching this now, check out, we have lots of videos on our YouTube page. I've been doing weekly news videos, weekly top fives. They're really great. We would appreciate the subscribes, the shares, anything you can do to help us out over there. Not, necessarily giving us money, but I'm not going to not take money if you're going to give it to me either. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day.